So now we actually have the blueprint for a customer. We know how a customer should look inside our software system here. Let's try and actually create one before we start talking about the modifiers. So how do we actually create an actual customer inside our main code right here, inside the program that we are writing, the menu program? The way you're doing that is either by writing customer here and then cust1 maybe equals new customer. So we're using the new keyword to actually create a real customer from the blueprint. So the difference here is that when I just have the customer class here, this is actually what we could call a blueprint of how a customer should look. That's the class of the customer, right? I know it needs, to call yourself a customer, you need your first name, your last name, and an address. Or else you're not a customer. But when we talk about the actual customer one here, we're using the blueprint to create a specific customer. So let's say customer one's first name is actually Bob, right? And customer one's last name is actually Dylan, like this. And customer one's address is actually Bungo Street 22. I don't think that's a real address, but who cares? So now we've actually created a representation of a specific customer in memory right here compared to the class, which is pretty much just a blueprint of how a customer should look. I think that's very important to understand that here we're talking about a class, while here when the program is actually running, we're talking about an object in memory. Okay? Now we could start printing all of this, and let me just console write here, console write line. You can do that yourself as well if you want to test this. And here we'll just add name like this, and let's just add the dollar sign in front of it actually, so we're actually using what I learned you guys earlier. And here we're going to add the property of first name like this, space, and then we'll add the properties of last name like this. Winks. So there we go. Let's try and run the console, and now you should see before the menu comes that we actually print out the first two names. Except we have a small problem, and that is, of course, I clear the menu still. So let's just put in a break. No, actually, let's remove that clear down here because that's starting to annoy me a little bit. I'm removing the console clear down here, and then I'll run it once more, and now you'll actually see that the name of Bob Dylan pops up first. So now you've created your first real customer inside your software application using your class blueprint to actually create him. Next lesson, let's try and talk more about this public, private, internal modifiers that you have available. See you next time.